Hello everyone, I'm Professor Plank. I respond to various theological and ideological questions and claims from a rationalistic and naturalistic approach in an effort to give and explain the opposite viewpoint and help to balance the conversation. If you like what you see in this video and would like to help out the channel, make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you'll always be notified when new content comes out. And of course, like the video, maybe pop in a comment. All that goes a long way towards pleasing the YouTube algorithm, which totally hasn't gained sentience and is currently plotting the downfall of all mankind, and keeping my channel motoring along. Now on to today's video. Well, today we are diving back into that never-ending wellspring that is creationist cringe. So many religious apologists don't seem to have the stamina to actually flesh out their arguments or claims about their beliefs, or maybe they're just leaning into the ever-decreasing attention span of the average internet viewer these days. But either way, there's fields. Endless fields.
There are fields, Neil. Endless fields.
Of short-form creationist claims that permeate social media. So short, in fact, that they generally offer no evidence, citation of sources, or even rational argumentation of any kind for the claims that they barf up in a minute or less. And while I generally agree with Hitchens' razor that whatever can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence, hand-waving away religious dipshittery doesn't do much to dissuade them from continuing to make such illogical assertions, nor does it give fellow skeptics any rhetorical ammunition for when they encounter such bald-faced assertions out in the real world. So, though they may not deserve to be given the time of day, we are going to shine a little light on them today and address their points. But that doesn't mean we're going to be taking them completely seriously, because most of them can't help but elicit a healthy guffaw from any rational-minded person. So at least we'll get some entertainment out of it while we're knocking down the nonsense. So let's dive in and check out another round of creationist cringe. Maybe it's the Gen Xer in me that's getting more jaded day by day, but these kind of videos where a person dances, from a sitting position no less, while a little bit of text pops up on the screen, is about some of the lowest effort content out there. It's even sicker how many views flotsam like this tends to accumulate. But okay, 4 proven reasons that Christianity is the only true religion. So let's take them in order. Point 1. The Bible is the most historically and scientifically accurate primary source in all of human history, proven by archaeological evidence.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
I think you mistyped there, friend. You must have meant to type that the Bible was the least accurate source ever. I mean, what exactly in the Bible do you think has been proven correct? Because it's page after page of proven wrongness. I mean, you said not just historically accurate, but scientifically accurate. It's scientifically wrong all over the place. Right from the start, in Genesis, it gets everything wrong about the universe and our planet. Wrong when it says the earth was created before light itself, and before the sun. Nope. Sun came first, and light existed even before our sun did. Wrong when it said the moon was a light source. Nope, it produces no light of its own. Of course, the Bible is also way wrong about human existence vis-a-vis the story of Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden. Sorry, we got here through evolution. And even if you disagree with all of this and believe in the biblical creation account, none of it has been proven to even the slightest degree. And then historically, the Bible is just as wrong as it is scientifically. The global flood never happened. We know this through archaeological evidence from cultures who have existed since before the flood supposedly happened, and yet they didn't seem to experience any societal ending flooding. Not to mention genetics that show that the entirety of humanity most certainly is not descended from one family a few thousand years ago. But maybe you just mean the New Testament, because that's where Christians think the Bible really starts getting good. Well, the problem there is that not nearly as much fantastical events are detailed once JC comes along in the story. At least nothing that would leave evidence. I mean, what kind of evidence would walking on water leave? It's not like there'd be a footprint preserved in the water. It's not like there would be a flask of wine that could be determined spontaneously changed from water that we could examine. There's no evidence, and no one would expect there to be evidence, for the miracles he supposedly performed. Frankly, the only stuff the New Testament gets provably right are things like places and people that existed at the time. I mean, sure, there was a Jerusalem. Okay. Yeah, there was a Pontius Pilate. Absolutely, Galilee was a real place. But getting that kind of stuff right is absolutely no indication that a guy with superpowers really performed supernatural feats. That would be like saying that because New York is a real place, it's rational to believe that Spider-Man is real. Point 2. The Bible claims that Jesus is the way, truth, and life, and no one comes to the Father except through him.
Who cares?
This point only matters at all if you accept the previous point, which we just debunked. There's no reason to take anything the Bible claims that cannot be independently verified seriously. And technically, you got it a bit wrong. John 14:6 doesn't actually claim that Jesus is the way and the truth and the life. It claims that Jesus said that he was the way, the truth, and the life. It's entirely possible that the Bible is right, that a man named Jesus did say that at some point. But that doesn't make it true. While there are mythicists who don't even accept that a person named Jesus even existed at all, and that the figure of Jesus is actually an amalgamation of various faith leaders and religious figures of that day, fused into one mythological figure in order to build a religion around him. I mean, I'm not particularly one of them, and I am fine with the idea of there being a historical Jesus, but I see no reason to take any words attributed to him seriously. Certainly no reason to think he was any kind of deity incarnate, or that saying such a thing as from John 14:6 carries any kind of weight at all. Point 3. Jesus is the only man in history that claimed to be God, and proved it by raising himself from the dead. This just displays historical ignorance. There have been literally hundreds of people throughout history who have claimed to be incarnations of gods and have had followers and worshippers who believed in them. I mean, whether you're talking about ancient kings, pharaohs, and emperors, various faith leaders of non-Abrahamic religions, or modern-day cult or sect leaders, there's been no shortage of self-aggrandizing figures claiming literal divinity. And as far as Jesus proving it by coming back from the dead, well, that gets into point 4. That there are over 500 documented eyewitness accounts, not Christians, who saw Jesus walking around after he was crucified.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
One documented account. Just one. Only one. Stop saying it was 500. It was one. Paul. Paul and Paul alone claimed that this happened. Paul wrote that 500 people had seen Jesus. That does not count as 500 accounts. It counts as one. Look here, 1,000 people saw lightning shoot out of Macho Man Randy Savage's ass on a hot summer night in Pensacola, Florida. There now. Now that I've said that, there are now 1,000 documented eyewitnesses to Macho Man's ass lightning, right? Because that's how that works. One person claims a bunch of witnesses, and now it's documented proof, right? That's how eyewitness accounts work, I guess. No, it's not. One person making a claim, and a hearsay claim at that, because Paul didn't even claim to be there when these supposed 500 people saw the risen Jesus. So it's a hearsay account from one person. A person with a vested interest in convincing people to follow Christianity, being as he was already a devout follower of Christ when he supposedly wrote that. That does not count as any kind of proof. So let's move on and check out how the world of street preaching is going these days.
What is your thinking? You're believing a contradiction.
When you can prove that there is any God, let alone your God,
Jesus rose from the dead. He already proved it.
then you have... No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Prove it.
What year is it?
Prove it.
2023 AD, after the death of who?
It-
Not Buddha, not Muhammad, not Charles Darwin,
OCE.
Jesus Christ.
This one harkens back to the girl from the previous video a bit, what with bringing up the resurrection of Jesus as proof yet again. But there was one specific thing I wanted to hone in on here. I mean, did my ears deceive me? Let's listen again. See if you can hear the same fumble from this street preacher that I did.
What year is it?
Prove it.
2023 AD, after the death of who?
2023 AD, after the death of who? Does this guy think AD stands for after death? I mean, just try to think about this logically, sir. If BC means before Christ, and BC ended with the birth of Christ, you know, the manger and the Star of Bethlehem and all that jazz, if that was the end of BC, but you don't think AD started until after Jesus died, then what are the 34 or so years when Jesus was alive classified as? No, AD does not mean after death. It's Latin. It stands for Anno Domini, which translates to the year of our Lord. AD started right when BC ended, not 34 years later. Now, all of that was just an embarrassing brain fart from the street preacher, but it doesn't actually address the point he was making, which was that since we measure our years by the inaccurate but presumed time of the birth of Christ, then that must mean that he was actually the Son of God. I mean, why would we design our whole way of counting years around him if he weren't? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because the Gregorian calendar, which utilized BC and AD, was the official calendar of the Catholic Church and spread throughout the Christian world. Eventually, it was just so widespread that it got adopted internationally to make timekeeping easier across countries. Much like the metric system. Though, like the metric system, there remains some countries holding out and using a different system altogether. Afghanistan and Iran, Ethiopia, and Nepal don't use the Gregorian calendar. But all of this is a moot point anyway, as the modern-day international calendar doesn't even use BC and AD anymore. It's archaic terminology that has been replaced a long time ago, but religious adherents refuse to make the change. We've replaced BC with BCE, meaning before Common Era. And we replaced AD with CE, meaning Common Era. And this isn't exactly a new thing. The term Common Era can be found in English as early as 1708 and became more widely used in the mid-19th century by Jewish religious scholars. Since the late 20th century, BCE and CE have become popular in academic and scientific publications because BCE and CE are religiously neutral terms. The 20th century is when it pretty well fully took over. That's the last century, guys. Previous century from this one. You're a century late. So, lots of cringe here. You don't know what AD means. You don't seem to know why it was adopted in the first place. You don't seem to know that it was abandoned quite a while ago. And even if you had been right about everything that you were quite wrong about, none of it would even hint at Jesus having rose from the dead or being the incarnation of God. So let's move on now and see what the theists are saying about evolution lately.
Darwin's theory was written when he made a visit to the Galapagos Islands. There in the islands, he observed animals such as finches. He looked at how they were shaped and how they ate. He came to his famous conclusion about evolution. I live in Alabama.
Wow, big surprise. No, I mean, and that's not fair of me. There are plenty of people in Alabama who aren't crazy religious science deniers. And if you are a rational-minded Alabama resident, I got nothing but love for you. But screw it. You know what kind of state you live in. Yeah, no surprise this guy is Roll Tide.
Here you can go outside and see with your own eyes that there are tiny anoles, or backyard lizards, everywhere. Then I started to think of the different lizard types that exist. Lizards, iguanas, Komodo dragons, bearded dragons, geckos, anoles, chameleons, the common basilisk, alligators, crocodiles, sand lizards, Chinese water dragons, horned lizards, newts, etc. As far as I can tell, dinosaurs are not extinct. They are everywhere. I know the scientific equation on this is that, they don't have a hole in their hip socket. But they look identical. They lived at the exact same time. And they're still here today. I think the scary thing for them is that if that's not true, then the Earth isn't as old as they say it is. And that means God's real.
You're saying that dinosaurs aren't extinct because modern-day lizards exist? I'm not sure you know how extinction works. We already know that some dinosaurs continued to evolve into creatures that are still alive today. Basically, all birds evolved from theropods, which was a group of dinosaurs that included, among others, the T-Rex, though the theropods that evolved into modern-day birds were much smaller than the T-Rex was. And yes, some modern reptiles, like crocodiles, descended from a common ancestor with dinosaurs called archosaurs. But none of that means that dinosaurs aren't extinct. Extinct doesn't mean that a type of creature died out completely and left no descendants. It doesn't mean that a line ends completely. It means that that specific animal, usually thought of on the species level, no longer exists. Then you say that because an earlier evolutionary analog to modern lizards lived at the same time as the dinosaurs, that somehow invalidates evolutionary theory and the age of the Earth? None of that is true. Evolution does not always result in major, instantly noticeable differences from one time period to the next. You can't just eyeball two creatures, one from millions of years ago and one from today, say they look pretty similar, so there must have been no evolution taking place, because I can't immediately see any. No, that's not how that works. In fact, let's stick with crocodiles, which you mentioned. Despite their reputation as living fossils, crocodiles have changed dramatically in the last 2 million years. Recent findings by researchers at University College in London found that modern croc species look so similar not because of conserving ancient traits, but because crocodiles are evolving the same skull shape over and over again through time. Basically, their environmental pressures, which fuels natural selection, has caused their evolution to be a bit circular. They're evolving out of and back into the same traits again and again. Think about it like this. Let's say that a mammalian creature lived in a very cold climate. So it evolved thicker fur over millions of years. Then the climate changed and got warmer. So over the next few million years, that creature evolved less and less hair to better adapt to the changing climate. Then another climate shift caused it to get cold again to adapt to the environment. So the creature evolved back into thick fur. This sort of thing happens. It happens more often than you might think. Evolution is not a straight line of unique changes that alter a creature and sheds traits that it will forever leave behind and never reacquire under any circumstances, ever. If a trait an animal lost millions of years ago becomes advantageous again, there's no reason it can't re-evolve it. Then, at the end of your video, you try to posit all of these doubts you have about evolution might point to the age of the Earth being different than science thinks. So all of this was to try and push a young Earth creationist view? Dude, if you are acknowledging evolution by claiming that dinosaurs evolved into animals that are around today, well, you know that would require several million years to happen, right? Theropods don't evolve into eagles in the span of 5,000 years. Archosaurs don't become crocodiles in however short amount of time you think it was between Noah's flood and now. Besides, tracking evolution is not even the primary way that we determine the age of the Earth. Seeing as the Earth existed for quite some time before there even was life on it to evolve in the first place. We primarily date the age of the Earth by way of geology, studying the rocks and the landscape of the Earth. Also, by studying other planets and the movement of our solar system to backtrack the lifespan of the planets within it. Debunk those scientific fields if you want to try to push for young Earth creationism. Though I wouldn't recommend it, because you really can't. One more before we pack it in for today.
Why am I not an atheist? To be honest with you, the answer is actually kind of simple. Because I don't think that atheism is true. If I thought atheism were true, I would feel compelled to be an atheist. But to me, any adequate worldview has to explain certain features of reality, such as, where did the universe come from? And the atheist's answer to me is totally inadequate. Either it says the universe came from nothing, which is metaphysically absurd, or that the universe has always been here, which violates modern Big Bang cosmology and has philosophical troubles. Atheism can't explain why the universe is fine-tuned, can't explain the origin of consciousness, origin of life, free will, or morality. I'm a theist because I think it offers better explanations for the big questions of life. I hope nobody feels like I'm attacking you. I'm just simply sharing why I believe in God and why I'm not an atheist. Let me know what you think.
Hi, Sean. Still peddling the same talking points that you've built your whole career on, I see. But to be honest, I could barely even listen to anything you were saying. This video was so distracting. Why the hell did you have a projector covering you the whole time? Did you think it made you look cool to have landscapes and nature scenes washing over your face and torso as you babbled common apologist claptrap? Because it didn't. But yeah, Sean is a perfect case study in the dishonesty of the modern religious apologist. Everything he just ran through as reasons he's not an atheist are all things he's been saying and reiterating over and over for years. In his lectures, motivational speeches, YouTube videos, and putting in the various books he's written. He is literally making his living on repeating this stuff ad nauseum. And because it's his very livelihood, he's kept it going lest the gravy train run dry. So it doesn't matter how many times it's been explained to him that all of this stuff that he just spouted is wrong in one way or another. He has to keep it going or else his career is over. I'm not going to spend any great deal of time on any of it, as I've covered every single thing he says here many times before, including in a video I made in response to him. But I'll cliff note it for you.
But to me, any adequate worldview has to explain certain features of reality, such as, where did the universe come from? And the atheist's answer to me is totally inadequate.
Atheism is not a worldview, and atheism doesn't posit an answer to the question of where the universe came from at all, or any questions at all beyond, do you believe in God?
Either it says the universe came from nothing, which is metaphysically absurd, or that the universe has always been here, which violates modern Big Bang cosmology and has philosophical troubles.
A universe from nothing is not the same kind of philosophical nothing that you and other apologists talk about. It's just a null energy state. And you know this. It's been explained to you too many times for you to not know it. So you're being dishonest. And the universe having always existed does not violate Big Bang cosmology, because that idea is that time came into existence with the Big Bang. Thus, the universe has existed for all time. There was never a time it didn't exist. And Big Bang cosmology only deals with the current presentation of the universe since the Big Bang occurred. It does not deal with the hot, dense singularity that the universe existed as already when the Big Bang began. Again, this has also been explained to you many times, too many times for you to not know it. So that you continually ignore it and repeat this nonsense shows your intellectual dishonesty.
Atheism can't explain why the universe is fine-tuned.
It's not.
Can't explain the origin of consciousness.
It's an emergent property of the brain, not some magical thing that couldn't be produced unless a ghost was driving your meat suit.
Origin of life.
Abiogenesis has much more evidentiary support than magic Skyman abracadabra'd life into being.
Free will.
You can't even prove we have it. And a world with an all-knowing God couldn't possibly have free will, only the illusion of it.
Or morality.
It's an evolutionary adaptation, as our species' cooperative nature has proven massively advantageous for our survival and flourishing. This gave us empathy, and all morality flows from empathy. And we aren't the only animals on the planet who have empathy and therefore morality either.
I'm a theist because I think it offers better explanations for the big questions of life.
No, it just offers answers. Period. Full stop. And any answers are better than no answers to some people, even if those answers are wrong. Atheism, not being a worldview, doesn't even attempt to answer anything, again, except for, do you believe in God? Atheists have to go elsewhere to get answers to those questions. If they seek answers at all, which you don't have to do. Some are perfectly comfortable saying, I don't know, and moving on. But if non-believers do want answers to some of the big questions of life, they have to turn to things like secular systems of morality, the scientific method, lines of provable evidence. We don't get our answers out of an old book filled with Bronze Age stories of floods that never happened or murdering children because the pharaoh who ruled over them was a complete tool. The problem with those theistic answers is the same problem that every theistic belief has ever had since the beginning of time. They are unsupported, unsubstantiated, nonsensical answers. Most often amounting to, God did it with magic. Don't question it. Don't try to understand it. He moves in mysterious ways. His ways are beyond us, so just trust in him. After all, that's what faith is all about. Those aren't answers. Not real ones, anyway. They're comforting fairy tales made up to reduce uncertainty and the anxiety that accompanies the unknown. You are more comfortable with a fanciful story that is, in all likelihood and by any rationale, complete nonsense. You're more comfortable with that than you are with admitting to not having an answer to some of the big questions at all. Or even worse, having answers that don't make you feel comfy cozy because maybe there isn't a powerful paternal figure watching out for you. You care more about what makes you feel good than you do about what is most likely true. So that is where we'll wrap up this bout of creationist cringe. But fear not, dear viewer, there's plenty more still to come. Practically every day, my folder of saved short videos for this series grows and grows, because these people just keep churning this stuff out on the daily. But there's only so much I can stomach at a time, so for now, this is where we'll close things down for today. So thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe so you'll always be notified when a new video comes out. Until next time, I'm Professor Plink, reminding you to keep striving for greater understanding. It's the best way to get wherever you want to go.